Hey there guys, Raj here, and today's video is a fragrance collection video. This is an updated version because I have done a couple of collection videos in the past, and if you want to check those out, all you need to do is go to my channel, click on playlists, and then click on fragrance collection. The first collection video I did, I split it into two parts. The last one I did was in one video, but I did it 2 years ago, pretty much this time 2 years ago. So I thought, now we're coming towards the end of the year, 2016 is almost done, this will be a good time to show you my current collection. So before I get into all of this, I just wanted to say a couple of things. You know, as you can see in front of you is not a huge collection made up of hundreds and thousands of bottles. If you've been following my channel, you'll know that I have been all about not sort of like buying every bottle that I like, every fragrance that I like into a full size. I don't really want to have a collection that is too big and out of control, and have lots of things in there that I can't wear. And also, I just don't want to spend so much on fragrances. I don't want to spend or dedicate so many resources to just buying fragrances. I mean, I love it, obviously, but I don't want it to take over, you know? So a couple of years ago, I came up with a limit of around 20 bottles, and I just came to that number because it felt, comfortable. It wasn't, there's no science behind it. It allows me to have a bit of excess, but also nothing too out of control. So here we are, and fragrances in my collection, I am happy to move things on after a while. It doesn't mean that I don't like the fragrance, it's just good to keep things fresh and keep rotating things. There are some fragrances in here that have been in my collection for a very, very long time, and probably I won't sell them. At the moment, the collection is more skewed towards colder weather fragrances, but as we get into next year and the weather warms up a little bit, I probably will add one or two bottles for spring and summer. So let's just get straight into it, starting from left to right. And oh yeah, actually, before I do get into it, I will mention if I have reviewed the fragrance before I mention the bottle. And I haven't reviewed every single fragrance in here, guys, so if there is one fragrance that you're keen to hear my thoughts on, and I haven't reviewed it yet, let me know. Okay, so let's go. First up, and those of you who know my channel, have been following it for a while, will know that this is one of my favorite fragrances. This is Clive Christian C for Men, and this is complex fragrance. It is a fragrance that nowadays I wear actually quite infrequently. There's a lot of spice in here, there's a lot of leather and oud and frankincense, and it's quite a fragrance that you would wear on a more elevated, more elegant scenario. Really classy fragrance, very expensive, probably a little bit too much for what you get. Fragrance prices nowadays, they are out of control, but I really like that fragrance. A couple of fragrances from Tom Ford's Private Blend. I have owned quite a few Tom Fords from the Private Blend and also his normal line known as the Signature line. I think, vast majority of them are really good quality. I haven't really bought much Tom Ford recently, but I do have a couple of really good bottles here. Tobacco Vanille. So many people have mentioned this. This is one of my most complimented fragrance. Lots of sweet, earthy, slightly boozy notes in here, and it's really, really good. If a fragrance is in here, guys, or sorry, if a fragrance is not here that you have heard me mention in the past or heard me say good things about, it doesn't mean that I don't like it now. As I said, I like to rotate my collection from now and again, and if a fragrance is still available, maybe I'll buy it in a couple of years time or a few months time. I don't have to have it, I don't have that attitude anymore. So next up, again from the Private Blend, from the, I don't know, it's called the Jardin Noir, I think is the collection name. This one is Cafe Rose. Beautiful trio of roses in here, on the dark, earthy, peppery side. A nice fragrance I like to wear in evening times. Tom Ford's Cafe Rose, love that, love this fragrance. A couple of fragrances from the house of Roger Parfum. Now Roger Parfum, they have excellent fragrances. I do again feel the prices are kind of crazy. But this is actually my favorite from the brand, and I think his most unique. This is Enigma Pour Homme. This is the Eau de Parfum version, not to be confused with the more concentrated Parfum version. This is actually the old bottle design, and full of boozy notes in here, warm spices. It has a very much of a Christmas feeling to it. It's a really cozy fragrance, really classy, and definitely is my favorite from the house. Probably the most complex fragrance I've tried from this brand. This one is Diaghilev. And you know what? I'm just gonna take the cap off just to. Yeah, this one is amazing. This really is an amazing fragrance. It is a dense Chypre. It's an oriental fragrance. There's smooth but also smoky leather notes in here. Dense white florals. Nice amount of spice. There's actually a lot going on. And again, it is a fragrance that I feel is best suited for times when you're maybe wearing a suit, maybe in a fancy dinner or a wedding, something like that. It's an amazing fragrance, but the price is astronomical. But you know, sometimes you just splurge, you know, if you love something. Okay, a fragrance here. Oh, I haven't mentioned which fragrances I've reviewed, sorry. So I've reviewed this. I think I've reviewed these two and this one. I have also reviewed this one. From the house of Parfum de Marly, this one is Herod. And the bottle actually is heavy, but you know what? It's feeling a little bit light. I have been wearing this a lot in the cold weather. I love putting it away and then going back to it in the cold weather. It's full of sweet honey notes. There is a really kind of a slightly boozy effect in this fragrance. You can watch my review if you want to. I'm not going to go into every single note here, but one of my favorites. I think I gave it a 10 out of 10. I'm pretty sure I did. Next up, from the house of Thierry Mugler, probably for me the best in his entire line. This is Pure Malt. I do find the opening a little bit annoying. It's a little bit too sweet and a bit harsh, but quickly it settles into a really beautiful, slightly boozy, peaty, earthy type of fragrance with some really nice caramel notes in the dry down. I really love this fragrance, and for me, guys, yeah, I do love. This is my favorite one in the whole Pure line, you know. Okay, next up, a fragrance that I haven't reviewed, but I have mentioned it quite a few times on my channel, from the house of Bulgari, and this one is Man in Black Extreme. This particular bottle is a limited edition. You might not be able to make it out, but it's called the All Blacks edition, because it was done in collaboration with the New Zealand rugby team. This is, again, a lot of boozy fragrances I'm a fan of, actually. You might be picking up on a trend here. I don't know what that says about me, but anyway, I do like these fragrances which have like cognac and rum and like whiskey type accords, and this has it, but it has a lot more spices, and it is actually quite measured, but really for me is a great mainstream fragrance. You know, designer fragrances, more accessible in terms of prices, definitely. Have got a few compliments of this one, actually, even though it doesn't really last a huge amount of time on my skin, but it's, for me, I think it's definitely worth checking out. Okay, I believe the next 4 fragrances I have reviewed, starting off from one of my favorite houses, and I've owned many fragrances from this line. Only have 2 now, but you know, as I said, things can change. I don't have to have the entire catalogue of a brand. But this one, yeah, Dior Homme Parfum. This is like a flanker of the original Dior Homme, and it's amazing to see how this line has changed. There's so much variation in the Dior Homme line. This one is amazing. I think I didn't wear this one for a long time, and then we started to get some colder weather here in the UK. I took this one out and I got a ton of cocoa, actually, a really big burst of cocoa. There's a bit of leather in here. You can watch my review for more details. Really amazing stuff. Great quality for me. One of my favorites of all time. This is a bottle that I've had in my collection for forever, it feels like. This is Dior Homme Intense, full of iris and cocoa and ambrette seed. It's sweet and musky, and I tell you what, it's one hell of a fragrance. One comment, which is probably the most unique comment I've ever received on a fragrance, was when I was out on a date with this girl, and she said to me, "You smell feminine, but in a really masculine way. You smell nice." And to this day, I'm kind of confused as to what she said, but she liked it, you know. And this is one of my favorite fragrances. Going on to the House of Xerzhov, and this one is 1861. This fragrance actually has been not reformulated, has been repackaged, and is now known as 1861 Renaissance. So this is actually the original bottle, and this is full of sharp lemon, a bit of mint. It's floral, it's musky, in a sort of clean musk way. Superb for summer, the best fresh fragrance I've ever tried. I absolutely love this in cool, warm weather, but also, you know, it's nice to change things up in the warm weather and wear something on the fresher side. Keeps things interesting, because I have a lot of darker fragrances in here, guys, and you know what, I probably should have more cooler weather fragrances, but I know my style, I know the fragrances I like, so, you know, I don't feel like I need to have every type of fragrance out there. Next up is definitely a more grown-up gourmand, meaning like a kind of sweet fragrance, but nothing over the top. I don't think so anyway. This is from the House of Frapan, and this one is called 1270. I love the bottle design here. It's kind of like a, you know, heavy paperweight. It's all about, it sounds a bit silly when I say it, but it's all about this rum and raisin boozy ice cream. There is a lot more going on, to be honest, guys. You need to try this out. A lot of people do complain about performance, and I myself don't get amazing performance. I wish it did last longer on my skin, but there you go. Okay, so a couple more fragrances now. 3 from the House of Guerlain, and this one is, which one is this? This is Cuir Beluga from the La et la Matière collection. Here you go, Cuir Beluga. I'll be honest with you, I haven't used this much, by the way. It was a partially used bottle. And this one for me is a little bit tricky to break down. You know, it is all about suede, kind of deep, but also very smooth leather note, with the typical Guerlain note of heavy vanilla, and it actually is quite addictive. Very, very long lasting, but honestly, I find it really difficult to describe this fragrance, so when I do get around to reviewing it, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do a good job, but there you go. It is an amazing fragrance. And this one is Spiritus Double Vanille. It's very boozy. It's like a rum cake steeped in vanilla, fresh out the oven. A really superb fragrance. I used to have Tonka Imperial. I did review that one recently. I decided to move it on. Again, it doesn't mean that I dislike it. It just means that, you know what, I'm going to move it on. Maybe I will buy another fragrance. Sometimes most of the time, when I sell a fragrance, I do use the money to reinvest. But I decided to just free up some money. I'm going on holiday, but you know, that happens now and again. And okay, so next fragrance, which does actually come with a bulb atomizer, but Guerlain bulb atomizers, I absolutely hate them. So this one I take out into a plastic atomizer. I feel it's the best way to distribute it. I'm not sure if it's going to pick up on the, you might, not really. This is called Mon Précieux Nectar. I mean, first of all, bottle design, 10 out of 10. Really cool bottle design. And this is all about, this is a really addictive fragrance. This is Sweetener Neroli, warm, cozy almonds, you know, white floral notes in there as well, vanilla. Really amazing, soft, close to the skin, but I think it's like designed that way. Very much can be worn by a man. Don't be put off by, you know, marketing. And guys, going on to the final fragrance in this collection, and actually it is the bottle that I bought. This is sort of my last purchase. Well, last in the sense that this is the most recent, although I bought it back in March this year, so going back what's that, March, we're in December, so what's that, 9 months ago. I haven't bought a fragrance since this one. And as I said, you know, I'm not in a mad rush to buy every single fragrance that's out there. I don't have to be buying 4, 5, 6 bottles a month. I'm just not into that anymore. This one is from Acqua di Parma, and this one is Colonia Intenser, one of the most classiest fragrances in my collection. And this is all about classic cologne notes, but changed with a bit of leather and spices. It's aromatic, super classy, great on formal occasions, and I wish it lasted a little bit longer, but is a fragrance that I have repurchased. I actually have re-reviewed it, which I think I've only done that once before. I just felt like I needed to review that one again. So there you go, guys, that is my updated fragrance collection video for 2016. Let me know your thoughts. What do you think of the collection? Are there any fragrances in here that you have, that you like or dislike? Anything in here which you want to hear my thoughts on if I haven't reviewed it already? And what are your thoughts on fragrance collecting? Do you prefer just to have a smaller, more modest collection, or are there no limits for you? What type of fragrances, or what fragrances have you bought recently? Have you been wearing a lot of recently? It's always great to hear your thoughts. Thanks so much for watching. Feel free to like this video and subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so, and I will see you guys soon. Thanks. Bye.